After the initial addition of a chart, there are a lot of modifications that can be made. This video will show you some of these changes, as well as show you some tips and tricks to speed up the creation of other charts within the same report. For this video, we'll start by looking at an already added bar graph that displays the number of incidents by each site value. First, to modify an added chart, from the tool window on the left, click on the Report Structure tab, and then in the list below, double-click on the chart to reopen the Chart Properties window. Starting on the Category Axis X tab, the most common property change here is probably editing the appearance of the text for the coordinate label. Sometimes finding the properties that you want to change can be a little challenging. So 2 tips for searching through these properties are: 1, whenever you see a white triangle in the list of the properties anywhere within the Report Designer, this means there are additional properties that are hidden within that section. Clicking that triangle will expand the selection so you can see those other properties. Clicking on a black triangle will collapse the section back down if you want to hide them. For your second tip, in the top right corner of the window is a sample chart. Clicking on the different areas within the preview will take you to the property of the value you just clicked on. For our example here, if we hover over value 2, we can see this is the coordinate label. This will be the name of the bar, which in this case will be our different campuses. Clicking here will take me to that property within the window below. And now I can change the properties for that label, such as the font and any other properties that I may want to change. Next, on the Value Axis Y tab is another common change. This time, the appearance of the label on the object. This is a numerical value that we see on the different bars. In this example, it's a count of incidents. As with the label we just saw a moment ago, clicking on the numbers in the chart preview will take you to the label on object properties, where again you can adjust the font in the same manner as we just saw. Here we can also adjust the format of how the count will be presented. In the case of the format, this may be important to change depending on the calculation you're using. If you're using a count like we are here, despite what the preview may show you, you won't have .xx of an incident. Keep in mind that the Report Designer does not know yet what the numerical value for each bar will be, so these are just sample numbers. From the Format field, you can adjust the format of this data value. Since we have a count of records, it will be a whole number, and we probably don't need those decimal places. In which case, in the list of properties for the format, we can select the number and then how many decimal places we wish to see. Also here, we could adjust the thousand separator, format for negative values, and so on. On the Chart tab, you can adjust the appearance of the bars in the alignment section, whether this be the current bottom to top appearance or left to right. On the Diagram Area tab, if a title has not yet been added, we can click between the quotation marks and then add in our title. Otherwise, below this field, we can also adjust the font properties as we've seen previously, as well as adjust the location of the title if we want to change it. In the background section, we could choose to show or hide the faint blue background that can be seen behind the chart. Finally, on the Colors tab, you can adjust the color scheme of the chart. This could be done in one of 3 ways. 1, from the Project Design Scheme drop-down list, you can select from a series of pre-built color schemes. 2, from the list of colors displayed below, you can only change the color for values 0 through 9. When changing these colors individually though, the challenge you may have is knowing exactly how many values you need to change. Sometimes changes like this are best done after executing the report so you can see how many values will be represented within the chart. Also, you can only change up to 10 colors here. So if you have more than 10 bars within the graph, you'll notice that the same colors will be recycled but in a lighter hue. The third option is to use the Fixed Colors tab. Here, you could use a condition to fix colors to certain values. For our example, let's say we want the Pawn Place campus to always show in red. Click the Add New Assignment button, then in the window that opens, navigate to the Campus field and select it from our query fields. This will add it to the window below, where we can then type in an equals symbol, and then an open quotation mark, and type Pawn Place, and a close quotation mark. The quotation marks are required. Without these, you'll see an error message at the bottom of the window. Also, it's crucial that you type the name of the value exactly as it appears within your database. Any spelling mistakes, including case sensitivity, will cause this to not work. In some cases, you may see that this process will cause all values in the preview to appear in the same color. Again, keep in mind that the designer doesn't know which section will be the Pawn Place campus, so this will not be the actual final output that you'll see in your report. You can repeat this process for any other fixed colors that you wish to assign, and once done, click OK to close the Properties window. If you wish to adjust the size of your chart within the report container, navigate to the Output Height field, and here you can adjust the height of the chart. Then, a little further below in the list of properties in the spacing section, you can add values to the left and the right space fields. This will pull the chart in by however much you enter here. So if your report container is 8 inches wide and you enter a value of half an inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches to either the left or the right or both, it will shrink the chart by that much. Other property adjustments that we can make include filter and sort options. In the case of the sort order, if you wish to sort the values, click in the field and then select the appropriate sorting in either ascending or descending order as designated by the plus or minus symbols beside each field. In the filter field, you could further filter the chart above and beyond what the Analysis Expert query may currently be filtering. Let's say we want this chart to only display the count of class types at each of these campuses. In the filter field, select the formula. Then in the window that opens, navigate to the class field and select it. In a similar manner as to what we just saw on the fixed colors a moment ago, type the equal symbol, and then between quotation marks, type the name of the class value as it appears within your database. In a scenario like this, it would probably make sense for us to modify the chart title to indicate this is just one class value now. If you have similar charts that you wish to appear within the same report, you don't always have to add them from scratch. In the tool window on the far left, where the chart is listed, single-click on the chart to select it, and then in the mini toolbar above, click the Copy and then Paste buttons. This will create an exact duplicate of our chart, including all of the property settings that we've just set. For this next chart, now all we have to do are modify a few of these properties to change the appearance the way we want. Maybe this next chart we want for a different class, in which case we can simply change the filter to another class value. Then we can update the chart title to indicate what that new value is. Another option is that we can also change the chart type after copying and pasting. This time around, I'll copy and paste the chart again and change it to a simple line chart. Although this is a different chart type, it still shares much of the same properties. Again, I can update the properties to reflect what I want this chart to show. This time, a count of incidents by month. On our x-axis, I can change the coordinate value from campus to month. This function allows me to pull the numerical value of the month that our incidents were reported in. This is important because this allows us to sort the months in a logical manner. If we were to pull the name of the months with the month $sign function, they would then appear in alphabetical order, starting with April, then August, and December, and so on, as opposed to the January, February, March that we would probably want to see. We can use that other function in the coordinate label field to change how the value is being displayed, from the number to the name. This retains the numerical sort, but is just changing how that number is actually being displayed. In the event that the coordinate label field is locked or grayed out, click on the Chart tab, and then in the Linear Data Access field, change the value from yes to no. This will then unlock that field so we can change it. Now we can modify the coordinate label, and instead of keeping the coordinate value as the default, select Formula, and then enter in that similar function, in this case the month with the $sign. This function changes the display to the name of the month. Again, we can adjust the font appearance as needed. As well, I can modify the title, and if needed, I can adjust the colors as we saw earlier. In all, as we can see here, it can take just a few seconds to a few minutes to replicate similar charts and modify just a few of the properties to differentiate what each chart will show. Another change that might be beneficial here is to actually change the name of the chart within our tool window, so it's simpler to identify which one's which. You can change the name by either entering a name into the name field in the properties window of the selected chart, or you can single click on the chart twice within the tool window and then type in a new name. Our final topic for this session is to show you how to create a multi-column report. In a scenario like this where we have multiple charts, it may be a desired output to have these charts displayed beside each other rather than be stacked. In the tool window on the far left, click on the report container. Then in the properties window, change the column count to 2. After doing this, sometimes in the layout preview, you'll notice that all elements within the report container are then all pushed over to one side. We can then go on an element by element basis and decide whether the item should appear in one column, which would be across the entire report container, or in just one of the 2 columns. We can also use the column break before property to adjust where each chart should appear within our report.